Have you ever felt like you were speaking to God, and all that came back was silence? As if your prayers rose up full of hope, but hit a closed sky and fell back into your heart, heavier than they were before? It's not a lack of faith. It's exhaustion. It's the weariness of someone who tried to do everything right. Of someone who prayed, waited, trusted, and still received a no. There is a type of pain that no one sees. It doesn't show on your face. It doesn't become a conversation. It doesn't demand attention. It's the pain of moving forward on the outside while, on the inside, you silently ask, God, where are you? Now, imagine with me a ship on the high seas. The crew looks ahead and sees a perfect path, clear skies, favorable winds, calm waters. Everything indicates it's time to move forward. But the captain sees something no one else can. Below the horizon line, a devastating storm is starting to form, silent, dangerous, inevitable. So he does the unthinkable. He turns the wheel. He changes the route. And in that instant, the crew revolts. They don't understand, they question, they get frustrated. To them, that change feels like a mistake. Perhaps you are living that moment right now. An interrupted plan. A closed door. A route that changed without warning. But what if this no is not rejection? What if it's protection? If today you decide to trust, even without understanding everything, that God knows exactly what He is doing, leave your like now as a sign of that decision, and subscribe to the channel so we can walk together every day. And to help you maintain this peace when your mind tries to take control, I've left a gift in the first comment, a 1-minute prayer to align your heart today. Stay with me, because God's silence is not absence, it is care. Perhaps the hardest moment of faith isn't when everything goes wrong. The hardest part is when everything seemed to be going right, and suddenly it stops. Because when something goes wrong from the start, we can almost understand it. But when you prayed, felt peace, and still lost, it confuses the soul. That's when many people start to think they got it all wrong, that they heard wrong, that they trusted too much, or worse, that God changed His mind. But the Bible shows us something different. There is a place in the spiritual life called the wilderness. And the wilderness is not a punishment. It is training. In the wilderness, God is not absent. He is silent, and that is part of the process. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is when God is working in areas you cannot see. The Apostle Paul lived this. He prayed for something to be taken from his life. It wasn't a small request. It was persistent. It was sincere. And the answer he received was not what he expected. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. God didn't say yes, but He also didn't say, I'm leaving you. He said, I will be with you inside of this. And maybe that's the answer you are receiving right now. You asked God to take away the pain. He is strengthening you to cross through it. You asked for an external change. He is building something internal. The no of today is preparing you to sustain the yes of tomorrow. God is not late. He is precise. Lord, in this moment, reach out to this person who is listening to this message with a weary heart. Only you know how many times they tried to be strong when, on the inside, everything was falling apart. Only you saw the tears no one else saw. Father, embrace this heart that feels confused by your silence. Let them feel that your no is not rejection, it is care. Let this waiting not be abandonment, it is preparation. Amen. Do you trust the gardener even when he uses the shears? If you do, write in the comments, I trust. Don't forget to listen to the 1-minute prayer in the pinned comment. Subscribe to walk with us every day. And remember this as you leave. God's silence is not absence. It is care. Until the next video. Perhaps the hardest moment of faith isn't when everything goes wrong. The hardest part is when everything seemed to be going right and suddenly it stops. Because when something goes wrong from the start, we can almost understand it. But when you prayed, felt a confirmation, felt peace, and still lost, it confuses the soul. That is when many people start to think they failed at everything, that they heard wrong, that they trusted too much, or worse, that God changed his mind. But the Bible shows us something different. There is a place in the spiritual life called the wilderness. And the wilderness is not a punishment. It is training. In the wilderness, God is not absent. He is silent, and that is part of the process. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is when God is working in areas you cannot see. The Apostle Paul lived this. He prayed for something to be taken from his life. It wasn't a small request. It was persistent. It was sincere. And the answer he received was not what he expected. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. God didn't say yes. But he also didn't say, I'm leaving you. He said, I will be with you inside of this. And maybe that is the answer you are receiving right now. You asked God to take away the pain. He is strengthening you to cross through it. You asked for an external change. He is building something internal. The problem is, our minds prefer shortcuts. But God works with processes. The no of today is preparing you to sustain the yes of tomorrow. Because some blessings, if they came before their time, wouldn't lift us up, they would break us. God is not late. He is precise. And if today you feel like you're walking in circles, remember, in the desert, the people didn't walk fast, but they walked secure. Nothing there was a waste. Not the weariness, not the waiting, not the silence. Everything was forming someone who didn't exist inside them yet. And perhaps that someone is being formed inside you right now. There is a point in the spiritual journey where the questions get louder than the faith. Not because you stopped believing, but because you believed too much. You trusted, you obeyed, you made hard choices to remain faithful. And yet, you lost things you thought God would protect. It is in this place that Job's story stops being an ancient text and starts being a mirror. Job didn't lose everything because he was unfaithful. He lost it despite being righteous. And that is a hard truth to swallow. Pain is not always a consequence of a mistake. Sometimes, it's a consequence of maturity. Job questioned, he cried, he didn't fake spiritual strength. But at no point did he negotiate his trust. He said something that reveals a level of faith only born in silence. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's not a pretty phrase. It's a decision. Job didn't understand the process, but he understood who was in control. And maybe that is what God is teaching you now. Not every answer comes in the form of an explanation. Some come in the form of a presence. God didn't explain the why to Job. He revealed the who. When God finally spoke, he didn't give justifications. He revealed his greatness. Because when you understand who God is, the why loses its power. Spiritual maturity begins when you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" And you begin to rest in, "I know whom I have believed." Trusting is not feeling peace all the time. It is deciding to stay, even when peace leaves for a moment. It is to keep walking when the answer doesn't come. It is to keep praying when the sky feels closed. And perhaps today, God is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking for something deeper. Stay. Because those who stay through the process do not come out the same on the other side. The "no, that hurts today" is the foundation of a faith that tomorrow will not be broken by anything. While you are asking God to change your circumstances, He is working on who you are becoming. Some things are only born in silence. Some strengths only emerge when no one is looking. And there are levels of maturity that only form when God's no remains. What is being built inside of you is worth more than what was taken away. God doesn't just think about the destination. He thinks about who you will be when you arrive. That is why, sometimes, He slows things down. Not to punish, but to prepare. A promise given too soon becomes a burden. A door opened without structure becomes a prison. Growth rarely happens in comfort. It is born in the waiting, in the friction, in the frustration. That is where pride falls, where dependency grows, where faith stops being a speech and becomes your life support. Perhaps today, you are learning to trust without feeling, to obey without understanding, to stay without guarantees. That is not weakness. That is maturity. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, heaven is in motion. You have not been forgotten. You are being prepared. God's no never comes empty. It always carries a purpose. And one day you will understand. If He had said yes before, you might have reached the goal, but you wouldn't have been ready. Sometimes, God's care doesn't look like comfort. It looks like pruning. But every pruning carries a promise, a stronger life, and fruit that lasts forever. Lord, in this moment, reach out to this person who is listening to this message with a weary heart. Only you know how many times they tried to be strong, when on the inside, everything was falling apart. Only you saw the tears no one else saw, the silent questions, the nights they asked in a whisper, "Why me?" Father, embrace this heart that feels confused by your silence right now. Let them feel that your no is not rejection, it is care. Let them know that this waiting is not abandonment, it is preparation. Grant peace where today there is anxiety. Grant rest where today there is exhaustion. Teach this soul to trust even when they don't understand, to stay even when it hurts. If there were losses, heal them. If there were frustrations, restore them. If there was fear, replace it with hope. Let them not try to carry alone what was meant to be surrendered to you. Let them let go of the control and rest in the certainty that you are still at the helm. Father, strengthen this faith that is being refined in the silence. Build deep roots. Prepare the heart for what is yet to come. We don't need all the answers. We only need your presence. May they sleep in peace tonight. May they wake up with courage tomorrow. And may they, even without understanding everything, keep on trusting. We place everything in your hands, and we rest. Amen. Maybe today, you don't have all the answers. Maybe it still hurts. Maybe God's no continues to echo in your heart. But there is a question more important than why. Do you trust the one who is taking care of the process? Do you trust the gardener, even when he uses the shears? Even when the pruning hurts? Even when it feels like a loss? Even when it makes no sense? Because every pruning is a sign of care. No one prunes what they have given up on. You only prune what has a future. If this message spoke to you, write it here in the comments. I trust. Sometimes, declaring it is the first step toward finding rest. Don't forget to listen to the 1-minute prayer I left in the pinned comment. It is a simple, but powerful support to help you maintain your peace when your mind tries to take control again. Subscribe to the channel so we can walk together every day, strengthening our faith, our minds, and our hearts. And remember this as you leave. God's silence is not absence. It is care. Until the next video.